Hi, I'm Shira,
And I'm Shayna.
and we're from How to ABA. Now, here's a question that we got from one of our followers. I'm looking for help with supervising RBTs and BCABAs. I'm new to the position and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not used to being in this role and I can't seem to find anything to give feedback on because they're all new to me. And I find myself asking questions instead of giving them any real feedback. How can I be confident in teaching them without feeling like I have the skills to teach them? Now, this is a very common question, and we've definitely felt that way. You're new to the field, you might be new to the case, and you come in to, they're coming to you for that help and that support. And how do you have the skills and the knowledge and the confidence to give them that support? And that's a great question.
And a scary question, right? So, as a new BCBA, I still remember that going in and smiling and going, you're paying me for what? What am I supposed to do? Huh? You kind of feel like an imposter a little bit. And then you do it a few times and it kind of becomes fun. And now I'm addicted to it. I'm totally, totally addicted to it. Anyway, with that being said, usually when I run a supervision, it's not so much a formal, hey, sit down, I'm going to supervise you. It's more so me going in and either watching a child at a center or watching a child in a family's home. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the student, engage in an ABA program with, an RBT, with a therapist. And I'm supposed to be giving them feedback on the programs, on their teaching, on the binder, etc. So that's typically what I do. And where do you start with that? So usually what I do is I think about ABA, right? So instead of, doing ABA on a kiddo, I'm doing ABA technically with an RBT or with an IT. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go in and try and pair myself a little bit with reinforcement, right? So I'm going to smile. The therapist is usually nervous when I come in, a little bit of shaking with her hands. The cards are shaking, so I try and calm her nerves. And I typically say something like, listen, like, it's okay. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to observe your feed or your teaching. I'm really here to look at the kiddo and see how the programs are progressing. Now, of course, I'm going to give the therapist feedback and I am there to supervise her a little bit, but I'm not going to go in and say, yeah, I'm here to criticize you. Bring it on. I'm going to say, hey, listen, like, I want to see the kiddo. My primary reason for being here is to increase the kiddos programs, right? So, number one, I'm going to just observe. I'm not going to give any type of negative feedback whatsoever. I'm going to observe for a few minutes, 5 minutes or so. And then I'm going to make some type of really positive comment, behavior specific praise, right? I'm going to pair myself. Hey, you know what? I've really noticed a difference since the last time the kid's been here. Wow, you've managed. It's all on you. You yourself have managed to do this, this, and this. Great job. And that's what I'm going to tell them. If there's nothing really to give feedback on that's positive, smile and say something like, wow, I really like the way, the kid has followed an instruction for you. Find something, and then the next thing you want to do is take a look at the binder, right? So you're still observing, but also have the binder and you're looking at it, you're watching the programs. Really, you're flipping through the binder to see a few things. You're looking to see, what the programs in there are. Hopefully there's a good balance between receptive and expressive programs, or, natural environment play and some discrete trial stuff or VB stuff, whatever is the primary goal of the program. And then the other thing you're looking for is to see what programs have progressed significantly that need some updating and other programs that have completely stagnated. And those are the, two types of programs that really stand out to us. Number one is, the ones that need to be updated. Some things or some conditions have been mastered. And then number two, those ones that are just not progressing. What can we do about them?
And I find that there are a lot of programs that when I come in that the therapists are avoiding because it's their own negative reinforcement. They may not like the program or they may not know how to run it. So I might start by looking at which ones are not being run
And why?
and why. And that might be a good place to start because it might be because they don't understand how to run it. It might be because they don't like it. And trying to break that down would really help because the purpose of the programs are that they all need to be run a certain amount of times, a certain amount of trials throughout their sessions.
For sure. And then usually what I do is kick the therapist under the chair. I totally do. Why? Not because the therapist isn't doing a good job. She probably, or he probably is. But I love teaching. And that's got to show, your passion for the kids has to show. So, if I'm going to find out why a program isn't running well, or if it hasn't been run, I'm going to run it myself because, we have this rule is like, if the therapist isn't running the program, You want to know why? Jump in, see if you can run the program. If it's hard to run, if you've got 5 clickers and you've got to do something with all these clickers, I can't do it. I can't.
I'd also avoid it.
If I'd avoid it too. If the teaching steps aren't clear, if I'm reading it going, I don't understand these teaching steps, or if I'm doing it and the therapist is reading the teaching steps as I'm doing it and they just don't coincide, I'm going to change it, right? So basically I teach to see what needs to be changed. I'm also modeling, obviously, and then I'm going to jump in and have the therapist jump in right after me and see if she can rehearse it, right? And then give him some feedback on that. So, hey, does that sound familiar? I'm jumping in, I'm modeling, I'm giving instructions, I'm rehearsing with the therapist, giving instructions. Cheer up, BST.
Sounds like a BST model.
Right? So I'm giving feedback to the therapist inadvertently without saying, hey, you're not doing this right. I am giving feedback through the BST model, but more in a sense of, hey, I'm updating the kiddos program.
Mm-hmm. And that usually works. And then you can always ask for them if they have any questions, if they want any feedback, and then leave some time to follow up with parents. And then between all those things, you would have a pretty productive supervision session.